Civilizations die of suicide, not by murder. British historian Arnold Toynbee. Hello and good evening. My name is Ahmed Gassama, and today I'm going to present to you my article, Donald Trump's casus belli on immigration. First, casus belli is Latin for declaration of war. I chose this name because there is a great resemblance between the United States of America and the Roman Empire, and we are going to discover that. And also because Donald Trump is waging a war against immigrants and immigration. The outline is going to be as follows: the decimation of America by American hands, nativism as the American Reconquista, and third, the era of the Great Awakening. And please, watch till the end, because you are going to learn too much today. In 2016, Donald Trump started his electoral campaign by targeting the bad hombres and accusing Muslims of being hateful to the United States. Trump promised his voters to make America great again by waging a crusade-like war against immigrants who took jobs away from Americans and robbed America from its true identity and from its true spirit. The American commentator Patrick Buchanan stated that the United States is disintegrating due to the decline of the birth rate of its native-born population, as well as the loss of its basic fundamental Christian faith, to become a desert of godlessness. Buchanan declares with scary vehemence and distress that the European and the Christian core of our country is shrinking, while mass immigration is altering forever the face of America. In another review, Douglas Murray demonstrated in his work The Strange Death of Europe, Immigration, Identity, Islam, that Europe and the United States are suffering from symptoms and maladies from which it is impossible to recover. Murray goes further to demonstrate that one of these maladies is mass movement of people into Europe. For him, Europe is committing suicide, or at least its people and its leaders have decided to commit suicide. And neither European countries nor the United States of America can escape this fate. It is important to note that the home of Western people gradually became a home for the entire world. Therefore, we understand that the United States and the European countries are committing suicide, and that they are destroying their own countries by their own hands. We move to the next part. Nativism as the American Reconquista. So we move to the next part. Nativism as the American Reconquista. I think it is very important to us to go back to history, to dig deeper in historic events, so we can understand through history the current situation or what is happening today. That is why we would not only go back to the American history, but also to the history of the Roman Empire, to the history of ancient Greece, to the history of European Middle Ages, and even to the history of the world. Look, there is a huge difference between an educated person and an intellectual person. The educated person uses the tools he gets from what they teach him in school or in the university. The intellectual person is the one who expands his knowledge and goes back to the history of the world so he can understand the bigger picture. That is why we cannot understand the history of the United States without understanding the history of Rome, the history of Greece, the history of Europe, and we also cannot understand the history of the United States without understanding the history or the fundamental faith and principles of Christianity, and without also understanding the history of Western philosophy. So all of these components can help us understand the current situation of the United States and even also of the entire world. So the one who is specialized in American studies should not be ignorant of these details. I wanted to go back to one of the episodes of the Roman history, the Battle of Adrianople. Now the Romans welcomed a large number of Gothic immigrants into their territory of the Roman Empire. Despite the methods that the Romans did to assimilate the Goths into the Roman culture, the Goths turned from wanting to become Roman citizens into wanting to destroy Rome. The Romans fought the Goths in the Battle of Adrianople, but despite their victory, the Western Roman Empire declined, and which led, of course, to its fall, to its annihilation after 200 years. These kind of stories, which relates to the American history and to American nativism, terrorizes Donald Trump because he wants to implement the proverb that we always say and we always repeat: those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. And that is why we have to learn and study history, so we won't repeat the same mistakes. So Trump wants to protect his country from decline because of the issue of immigration. And that is why he wants to launch an American reconquista to regain the cultural territory that was stolen by the immigrants. Here, I think that we can say that Donald Trump is applying the methods of nativism and of the Know-Nothing Party. And that is why mainly to defend the American culture, which is under threat and under attack by the immigrants. In fact, Trump reminds us of Bill the Butcher from the movie Gangs of New York. And if you didn't watch that movie, I invite you to watch it because it portrays the history of American nativism and also the Irish Americans in the United States, and how nativists declared war on the Irish immigrants. It's like a war between America and Ireland. This movie will help you understand the course of Irish Americans and the diversity of diversity in the United States, and will also help us understand how the nativists launched war against the Irish people and how the Irish people defended themselves against American nativists. We move to the next part, the era of the Great Awakening. So we move to the third and last part, the era of the Great Awakening. Donald Trump sees the world in a black and white perspective, or in a binary perspective. You are either one of us or you are against us. You are either an American or an immigrant. This can't help but remind us of the practices of the European Middle Ages. And it can't help also but remind us of the practices of the Catholic Church, which also sees the world in a black and white perspective. You are either a Christian or a heretic. You are either a conservative or a liberal. We can conclude that Trump represents the modern day clergyman, and that the immigrants, namely Muslims, are the neo-heretics of the age. All of this because they go against the American mainstream society. As a result, we have to ban Muslims and we have to exclude Muslims from the United States of America. This is the American or the Trumpian agenda for the benefits of the United States. Trump wants to exclude Mexicans by building a wall in its borders and to excommunicate Muslims under the pretext of terrorism. But we are going to see how Trump contributed to the spread of terrorism not only in the United States but in the whole world. And we are going to also discover how he contributed to the spread of division between the American people itself. All of this because of ideologies and because of his personal hatred towards certain racial groups. After the coming of Trump to presidency, the United States witnessed a rise of white supremacists who brandished the sword and the spear to reignite the war against immigration, and they are ready to defend their cause, heart and soul, for everyone, against everyone who does not bow to the American values and the American creeds. In recent years, various American cities and states have witnessed a significant increase in hate crimes. Since the arrival of United States President Donald Trump to the White House in early 2017, unprecedented waves of hate crimes and racial discrimination have raised the rate of the shootings that claimed more American lives, while the percentage of crimes and attacks on minorities has risen to its highest level. Trump's inflammatory statements and his tendency towards the so-called racial superiority of the whites reinforced the seeds of racial discrimination and helped to spread it like a wildfire. Perpetrators of shootings do not encounter any impediment to commit their atrocities, as the Trumpian American law permits the individual to possess a weapon. The extremist nativist ideas moved from the United States to touch Europe as well as Australia and New Zealand. In 15 March 2019, a white supremacist shot dead almost 50 Muslims while attending prayer at Christchurch Mosque. The terrorist Brandon Tarrant stated with extreme anger in his manifesto, The Great Replacement, diversity is not a strength, unity, purpose, trust, traditions, nationalism and racial nationalism is what provides strength. Everything else is just a catchphrase. Trump's ideology reminds us of the American Senator Stephen Douglas, who stated in the 19th century that I believe this government was made of the white basis. On the white basis, I believe it was made by white men for the benefit of white men and their posterity forever. And I am in favor of confining citizenship only to white men, men of European birth and descent, instead of conferring it upon Negroes, Indians, and other inferior races. Finally, I would like to end by stating that the continuation of Donald Trump's term could end up in a balkanized America, especially that Henry Kissinger recently announced that the coronavirus will forever alter the world order. So, finally, I would like to thank you for your attention, and don't forget to watch Gangs of New York and to read my article. And don't forget to like my video and to subscribe to my channel.